This is a cool little piece of mining history, a little time capsule, if you will. This is an AutoLite Carbide lamp that's probably from the 20s, maybe even 30s. I'm just gonna show this little beautiful piece of brass off. I'll explain how it works. You don't see that made in the USA much anymore. These little brackets would secure to a miner's helmet. So you would unscrew this bottom, and this just comes off, it's threaded and screws off, and you load that up with calcium carbide. This, you would load this little tank with water, and you would close it, and this was your drip rate, which allowed X amount of water to flow over the calcium carbide itself. And when the water hits the calcium carbide, it produces highly flammable acetylene gas. And this is your reflector. And right in the center here, it's like a little torch, if you will, where the gas blows out. And here's your striker. So you would cup your hand over that to trap the acetylene gas flowing out from there. And as you're pulling your hand away, you're using this flint to strike, and then that obviously sparks, thus setting the acetylene gas on fire, and it would produce a very, very powerful flame. And that reflector would act as like a flashlight. It would literally reflect the light from the flame. But you know, you can see these old school unused carbide lamps on occasion on eBay. What makes this interesting is this. This is what's pretty neat. This is an original AutoLite Carbide lamp, new old stock box also. And it says, "They're finer, says the miner." And that very well may be the original price of $2.69. Could have come from an old company store. You never know. So this just shows all the little bells and whistles. The AutoLite is light in weight and is known as the strongest and most durable lamp. And I've seen a lot of these. Just Right and AutoLite are the two main manufacturers. And there's oddball ones. These were the heavy hitter ones. This is just pretty wild. Might even be from the teens, you never know, but most likely 20s and 30s. And here's your directions for using. I'll just keep that on there so you can read that if you're interested. Any of my fellow mining nerds on here. But what was cool about this was pretty revolutionary, because before you would have just a teapot oil wick lamp and you would have to load that up with kerosene or whale oil. And it was much dirtier, and this burns pretty damn clean. Compared to a teapot. I mean, you can still, in mines, like paint graffiti. A lot of miners use these to paint graffiti. They would go up and go psh, and spray their names. You'd see all their artwork, and some of it's pretty raunchy, believe it or not, down in the mines. But it, compared to an oil wick, it was just more efficient, and you could carry around extra carbide fuel in like a flask. I think they even called it a flask, and you can, you know, have a ton of fuel on you. You didn't have to worry about filling up kerosene or somehow bringing kerosene with you in the mines. And as long as you had just some clean water to add in that tank, you were good to go. And you would just smack the carbide holding bottom against a rocket, would knock out all the spent fuel. So when you're in the mines, you see a lot of clumps of old burned up calcium carbide. This is just wild. Ensures a steady, accurate drip of water. This ball dropper is found on the AutoLite only. So that was their little gimmick there. But compared to a teapot, this would have been much more desirable and pretty much revolutionary. And these ultimately came onto the scene before World War I, but really took off during World War I and post-World War I. They're pretty prevalent from the 20s through the 30s and even up until World War II. These were not just used in coal mining, but these were also used throughout hard rock mining, and also cavers till this very day still use them. And another group of people that would still use these potentially would be campers. Makes sense because it's easy. You just bring a couple of these and some calcium carbide in a flask, and it's relatively easy lighting, and that flame is hard to go out. That doesn't really go out easily. And something I forgot to mention, which is pretty cool, is in addition to the miners using these, I would have imagined that sometimes the mules use these. Don't quote me on that, but I want to say that I've seen photos with mules in the mines having teapot oil wicks. And I think they might have even used these. I could be wrong, so let me know if you've heard of that. But I know that I've seen that on the ends of the trips of cars in the coal mine, they would sometimes throw these so people would know when the end of the train of cars was, for safety reasons. So you know how when you're waiting at a train crossing, at the very end you see the car flashing the little red light, and it's electric today. But down in the mines they actually had a special carbide lamp for the end of the trip of cars. So that's an interesting little invention. And it was a different type of carbide lamp. It's more tall and it was skinnier. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions concerning carbide lamp. Inquiries or whatever. Sorry, I'm just staring at this thing, it's so damn shiny. But not an expert on carbides. Not really my favorite thing to collect, but this was just such an oddball with the original box. I had to grab it. So thanks for watching this, and let me know what you think in the comment section. See ya. Have a good evening.